Hello and welcome to Staying Ahead of the Curve. I'm Jeff Snyder, Vice President, Senior Consultant with CAMAC Retirement Group. We're coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland at the National Association of State Retirement Administrators annual conference. And I'm joined today by Jim Potvin. He is the Executive Director of the Georgia Retirement System. Jim, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get into it, just a quick update about Georgia. This is, Nasra was founded in 1955 here in Baltimore, and it's a very prestigious organization run by some great people and participating, great organizations that participate. Wondering if you wouldn't mind just talking a little about Nasra, your commitment, and kind of the environment, the ecosystem that it lives here.
And I'm proud to say that the Employees Retirement System of Georgia has been with Nasra since the very beginning. The first Nasra president actually was from Georgia. So we go way back. I've been coming to these conferences since 2009, and I can't say enough about the quality of the conference, the interactions with my peers, getting to know and understand their issues, seeing where we overlap. Just an invaluable experience for me, and I look forward to keeping that going for many years. Currently serving on the board, it's very proud to do so, and happy to be here.
And I think what's really interesting as a recent participant at Nasra the last several years, as a member of the CAMAC team, you all kind of really connect with each other and exchange the best ideas. You're all committed to the public defined benefit pension system, but what I really love is the roll call of the states, and that's for those in the audience who don't know, that's a time where people can, in the general audience, can hear what's going on in each and every state and each and every system. And I think that's a nice open way of kind of talking about things, because you often read things in the press, whether it's through the Morning Pulse or some other periodical. And sometimes you don't get all the facts sometimes.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I've listened to the roll call presentations and then gone up to one of the others and said, hey, that really resonated with me. Let's talk more about that.
So let's shift gears, and if you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience, to the extent you can, what's going on with the state of Georgia, the retirement system, your team. You've got a great team of people that work with you. It's not just yourself. You've got to have a great team to support all those members. Can you give a little bit of an update about the Georgia retirement system? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very proud of our staff. We've been doing some great work, really focusing on training and development of them. As you know, we are a hybrid defined contribution system, so we really look at our issues from three different perspectives. On the defined contribution side, it's about helping our membership get good savings habits and build their accounts and get themselves ready, understand what retirement readiness is, and sort of get themselves prepared for a day, which may feel a long ways off for them, but is really closer than they probably imagine. On the defined benefit side, it's more about operations and the finances of the system, and making sure that we're doing the right things for the sustainability and the long-term nature of the system, to make sure those benefits are going to be there as promised for people who are going to be in the system for a very long time. And then the third perspective is really a combined perspective, where we're attempting to integrate our communications from both perspectives to help our employees understand the value of those benefits from a more holistic perspective.
And I think it's that last piece that seems to be a trend developing. So certainly I've worked in other segments of the market, but bringing together that holistic or that big picture really is helpful and instructive to people, so they know what they have. And I know you and the office in Georgia have really taken the lead in kind of pulling this kind of stuff together for people.
Well, there have been a couple of key steps. The first one, a couple of years ago, we implemented a combined benefit statement where we have information about the defined benefit, defined contribution, and even a Social Security estimate. We take that and we project that to an anticipated future retirement date. We try to give people a sense for where they stand today with respect to being ready to retire at their desired date. And then, if they are on track, sort of encouraging continued good habits, and if they're not, trying to give them some tips and tricks to get them on that right track.
So if you would indulge me just a little bit, being an executive director, you're managing a team, and I want to talk. I think the audience may or may not understand exactly the complexities of the role of being an ED, because there's only there's a certain finite number. but you're working to manage a team, and you've got a great team. You're working with your vendor partners, but you've also got a board and legislators. I mean, there's a lot of complexities that go into that, into the role that you have.
That's right, and one of the challenges is to obviously craft the communications in a way that is relevant to each of those people, right? So you have the retirees who are primarily in the defined benefit system, and you want to be able to address their needs, but also, the younger employees who are coming in or in their 20s and 30s. It's a much different world from their perspective. And then, yes, to be responsive to outside, requests for information or just explanation, and just to stand ready to be the person to provide that information.
And as you're looking out into the next 5-10 years, what's top of mind for what you can share? What's top of mind in your mind, your staff's mind, the board's mind, in terms of the system and thinking about things holistically?
So the notion of having a 401k plan be a core part of the benefit for our employees is relatively new. We've only had this program since 2009. Just now, as we approach our 10-year anniversary of that program, are people starting to become vested in that program. So we have to start thinking now. It's great that they're going to be saving and doing the right things to build up their account balances, but they also need to be able to execute on a retirement income strategy. And so we've been, working with our vendors to, develop tools that will allow them to sort of project how to develop those income streams. We've also we're working on legislation right now to help provide tools to help annuitize their 401k benefits so that they can turn that into a guaranteed lifetime income stream and sort of mitigate the risk of running out of money in the future.
And you mentioned tools, and here I am with we've got like a panoply of information. We've got the roll call book from Nasra, and I have my 2 devices. Technology is important, but also the interaction with a human being is important to members. So they want to be able to maybe access some information through their phones, but they do like to be able to call the office still. Even some of the younger generation, or interact with the vendor or vendors and their staff. I mean, is that still a trend, or do you see that kind of in the future, or are we going to go to all these things and we're all going to be looking down like this for 10 years, 15 years from now?
Some of the best feedback that I get is when our staff goes out and meets with groups of employees or employers, in their settings. That personal sort of interactive touch is still very valued by people. Obviously, we're working to develop, ways to disseminate information on as many platforms as possible, but we can never forget that people do appreciate that kind of, personal interaction.
It's all about, you're doing this for people who serve the citizens of the state of Georgia, and I think sometimes that can be lost. Last question, data. We just sat in on a session by a retired general about cybersecurity and data. But I want to go in a little bit different direction. I know data protection is very important, but the use of analytics and the use of data to inform your team, to inform your vendors. How are you looking at that? How are you thinking about data today and in the future?
So the saying, what gets measured gets managed. So from that standpoint, we are always looking to develop internal metrics and to share those with our employees and also the membership, to kind of let them know how the plans are designed to work and how well they're doing within that framework. Of course, the board is very interested in that from their perspective as well, so that they can make the proper decisions going forward.
And you don't want to be invasive to the members, so you've got to balance the security protocols of the state and sharing of information. But yeah, that's how you build a better retirement program. You've got to be able to measure and manage and effectuate change based on those things.
That's right.
Jim Potvin, so great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show, and enjoy the rest of your conference.
Thanks, I will. Thank you.